I know many of you are confused with classes. I myself am confused also. So let me give you the summary about Murram University's class schedule. 1. Sword fighting and knowledge. 2. Magical element study. 3. Ancient language runes and sigils. 4. Academic class. 5. Alchemy. 6. Magical creature studies. 7. Astral and dimensional studies. 8. Defensive magic and wards. There will be some special classes also, but I will inform you guys beforehand. The class seems quieter than expected. The Azure Jade boy seems lost in something. Those cheerful orbs seem darted between nothing. He was in a daze. Dazed until the professor's harsh tone blustered his eardrums. Taehyung, where are you lost? You have to concentrate on herbs. One drop of mistake and the life-saving med can be life-taking poison. The sweet professor raised her voice, which is quite new, as from the time Athels walked inside the Murram University all were being polite and understanding. Taehyung bites his lips. The earlier thought didn't leave his mind. Concentrating on something seems idiotic when the mind is in chaos. He couldn't say anything. Jia standing beside him patted softly. What happened to you, Taehyung? Ah. Concentrate on the class. Nuna will treat you with ice cream. Jia's cheerful voice seems to have brought Taehyung back from the nightmare he was caged in. He took a bit deep and smiled at her. Jia knows him so well to be convinced by this act. But she didn't push harder. She waited until Taehyung reciprocated throughout the class. Concentrate, class. Today you will not follow instructions. Yesterday I provided everything. Of course I will introduce you to herbs. You will craft a potion from instinct. Like what your instincts tell you to do. Choose your ingredients wisely. I won't choose for you. Remember, stability is your only goal. And you guys have to achieve it. The teacher's sweet voice turned the tense atmosphere more lighter. She waved her hand and the chalkboard behind him lit up with floating names of herbs. Sunroot, frostvine, emberbark, moonberry, shadowmoss, crystal salt, and starleaf. Everyone's mind is in chaos now. They know about the herbs. But stability and those herbs are still foreign to them. But one assuring voice drained the uneasiness from each student's heart. Don't worry. Mistakes happen. Failure makes a man worthy. So just try it. Try it for 99 times even if it's needed. The professor cheers up the sulking group while each student starts taking herbs as much as they need. Jungkook chose moonberry and crystal salt first. He put the berries into pulp, and crushed them until they became thick pink juice. He dipped the dropper and then stirred the juice into his cauldron. The scarlet sapphire bites his bottom lips, waiting patiently. His heart is thumping a lot. His breath stuck in his throat. Without knowledge he turned and witnessed Sohung, one of his classmates. He was expecting those jade eyes, fixed glare and concerned face on his side. The wish is too much for him. His sapphire eyes turned a bit moist, but he consoled himself. This is the effect of his herbs. Without wasting any time he decided to concentrate. He has to do it, after all he is here for a reason. He takes a pinch of crystal salt and then adds on the cauldron. For a minute it kept shaking violently. The trembling jar seems to fall on the floor anytime. But the aggressive boiling of the liquid turned slower. The blue smoke finally faded in the air and the potion turned to faint blue from slight pink. On the other hand, Taehyung was fearless. He didn't hesitate, just grabbed the ember bark and snapped it into pieces. He put it directly into the silver base. Other students take a glance at Taehyung's cauldron as no one chooses amber dark till now. And Taehyung is the first one. The jade eyes of a fearless boy just smirk and look at his cauldron where the potion was roaring violently. Flames licking the rim. The professor kept his gaze firm on the table, as in begging students often messed up with those herbs. Some herbs are easy while some others are dangerous, and amber dark is one of them. Finally the violent boil calmed down. A blow of fog spread over from the cauldron. The potion settled into a deep crimson, glowing like molten lava. Taehyung takes a glance over Jungkook, who was looking at the crimson mixture with amusement. In the same class, Yoongi picked frostvine and shadowmoss. He looked neither nervous nor excited, just bored with everything. Sleep would be much more exciting than this class. He wants to end this as soon as possible. He crushed the frostvine into icy powder and sprinkled it without measuring. Yoongi yawned lazily, then added shadowmoss without any concern. The potion turned out to be a mixture of gray and black color. Yoongi's lips curved a little bit by the perfection of his potion when he didn't even put any interest. Jimin, on the other side, was already panicking. His hands tremble badly as he looks at his hands. He is holding a sunroot in one palm and starleaf in the other. He bit his lip hard, not knowing which one should go first. He finally dropped the sunroot, and the liquid turned into a violent golden surge. He bit his lips hard and added starleaf dust. The potion glowed bright. He became terrified by the violent shaking of the cauldron. He wishes Seokjin or Jungkook would be here with him. But they are different corners in this same classroom. The closeness seems too distancing right now. But soon the violent shaking came to an end, turning the potion into something beautiful like a star trapped inside the liquid. He smiled widely when his creation didn't blast out the whole classroom. On the other hand, Namjin chose moonberry and ember bark together. His fingers moved carefully as he measured both. He wanted to taste both of them as only ember dark is already chosen by Taehyung. He placed them into the cauldron at the same time. Just the moment he put both of the herbs together, a strange reaction began. Smoke twisted upward in the shape of vines wrapping around the ceiling. Namjin widened his eyes when the mixture roared, ready to burst, but he whispered under his breath, steadying his rhythm while stirring. Although his hands were shaking, he didn't stop his act. As he stirred more, the violent motion turned into a smooth swirl, the potion settling into a dark purple shade. Namjoon's face lit up with pride. He didn't mess it up this time. He didn't blast out the classroom, instead he made a perfect potion. The professor looked and smiled at him, who just smiled widely. On the other hand, Seokjin adjusted his robes neatly before starting. He looked more worried about the stains than the potion itself. He glanced over the small mirror placed in his fairy assistant's hand. He admired his ethereal handsome face before picking up the shadow moss and crystal salt. He sighs dramatically and mixes both of them on the cauldron. He was waiting for the dramatic violent shake to start, and he will pretend to be scared. Maybe spilled a bit so he can witness the scene which often played in cartoons, but to his miseries nothing happened. The potions just stay stilled slowly changing its color and settle into light green. He pouted sadly. The dream he was watching is nothing but shattered due to this stupid choice of his herbs. Hoseok stood beside him laughing while holding the herbs he chose. Frostvine and sunroot in his hands. He is kinda nervous, not knowing if this could bring anything good. Or actually can work together. The moment he added frostvine, the potion snapped with a sharp crack, shards of ice shooting upward. Hoseok yelped, nearly falling off his stool, which made some students laugh. With a great embarrassed face he added sunroot quickly. The mixture danced between ice and flame, glowing with a beautiful orange shimmer. Hoseok smiled widely, achieving success on his first try. Taehyung glanced at Jia, who tied her hair back neatly before choosing her herbs. She picked frostvine and moonberry. She didn't pay attention to her brother as she knows this will end up with fighting like a dog and a cat. Instead she put attention on the thing she is doing currently. She ground the frostvine into fine icy dust and put it on the base and dropped in the crushed moonberry juice later. The liquid bloomed into a deep sapphire blue. Jia turned to Taehyung with a wide smile as she knows with her success Taehyung will be the happiest person. Taehyung just made a face while she poked out her tongue. Controlled risk. Well done, students. Those who couldn't bring the potion in the right texture, just try it. Success's main foundation is failure and working hard. I have trust in my students that they will work hard. The professor said with a smile. The class ended as the students sigh in relief. All were heading towards the next class. Magical creature. Taehyung's mind turned sour recalling the moment when Jungkook exclaimed an ugly creature handsome. His sulking face is crystal clear to everyone. Stop sulking like this. If you behave like a child I won't make you my brother-in-law. Taehyung took a glance at the side and found Jimin rambling utterly nonsense. He knows if there is anyone suitable for Jungkook on this whole planet then it's him only. How come Jimin holds the audacity to claim he won't make him his brother-in-law? He has to. Stop, you tiny Athel. How can you say this? You have to make me your brother-in-law. From where you will find this amazing, gorgeous and handsome man. Taehyung whispers slowly so Jungkook can't hear it. He obviously would love to see Jungkook's surprised face when he would propose to him with millions of crystal flowers and obviously with a marriage band. You are insulting me and hoping to get together with my cookie? Jimin asked, raising his eyebrows as Taehyung just left a scoff at hearing him say so. They wanted to pull the conversation more but couldn't do it due to the teacher. But that doesn't mean they didn't glare at each other. They did it passionately as if they were born to be an enemy. Hello, students. How are you all? I know you guys aren't this much okay after a hectic day. By the way, I am your new professor. The new young Professor Celine smiled widely looking at the group of students who were looking at her. She smiles gracefully at the students. The head of this department is kinda busy with some creatures' work. I will take your class till she is free. Now you have to concentrate on the class. Today, we begin with one of the oldest creatures known to Athels. The Nyxgriff. Everyone turned their head towards her. Soon a floating table dangled in the air in front of each student. They take out the notebook printed, magical creature, gazing with a golden hue. Note down, students and silence. Without question, I don't want any commotion. Celine said with a smile and started giving the introduction about the creature. The Nyxgriff is a hybrid of shadow beast and griffin. Unlike its kin, it does not roar, it whispers. Its feathers are said to absorb light, leaving only traces of silver across its wings. Its eyes can pierce the soul, showing you your deepest fear. That is why Athels train with them to conquer their weakness, not the beast. She held the lavender velvet clothes and pulled the clothes away from the invisible cage. As the cloth shifted as the creature stepped forward, two piercing golden eyes gleamed from the shadows. Some students gasped watching those eyes. Jungkook is mesmerized by those eyes while Yoongi keeps his gaze firm on those eyes. He is restless to watch the creature more closely. Note this carefully. A Nyxgriff will never obey someone who hides their true nature. It respects the honesty of spirit, even if that spirit is cruel. And it's not just for noting down on the notebook. It should be carved in mind so ahead of time you guys know what actually you are doing. Celine said and stepped back a little. She gave time to the students who were noting down the information. As time is passing, Jungkook's sapphire eyes sparkled with fascination, his quill moving quickly as he filled the page. Taehyung, on the other hand, only leaned back lazily, his jade gaze fixed more on Jungkook's glowing expression than on the shadowy creature behind the bars. Everything on this planet seems worthless in front of the boy with ruby red hair. The Nyxgriff shifted again in its invisible cage, his feathers rustling like silk in the dark. A low, almost human whisper echoed through the hall, and some students shivered as if the sound had brushed directly against their ears. Jungkook trembles by the deep voice whispered as if it's calling him closer. Jimin clutches Hoseok's hand as he can hear the whisper in human voice but latches with horror. That is its nature. A voice of shadow. Write this down and never answer its whispers. If you answer, then you are trapped. About 3,000 years ago, Nyxgriff controlled the west region of Xylos by those whispers only. Celine said and took her seat just beside the invisible cage. She didn't look at the creature's eyes. Nor did she flinch at the deep whisper. If you have any questions, then ask it. You have to know your doubts and have to learn about everything. Professor, if the Nyxgriff shows fears, can it harm us with them? Or are they just illusions? Seokjin asked while eyeing the creature in the invisible cage. A sharp question. They are illusions, but not harmless. A mind that believes in its fear may suffer real damage. Many Athels have fainted, even lost sanity for a short while. Remember, your mind is your shield, Celine said while patting her foot on the wooden floor. If someone has no fear, what then? Yoongi asked enthusiastically. He never found this much interest in creatures, but something so powerful forced him to pay attention. Celine looks at him for a long time before answering. Taehyung was also stiff in his seat. He wanted to know the answer. He doesn't have any fear until he knows. Every living being has fear. Even if hidden deep. If the Nyxgriff finds none on the surface, it digs deeper. It didn't stop until it didn't find anything. That is its gift and its curse. Let me tell you guys the history of this magical creature. Celine said, and the students put entire concentration on the teacher. Almost 3,000 years ago, during the first Shadow Age, Nyxgriffs were not caged. They ruled all over the Xylos. The ancient records tell us that the Nyxgriffs were born from the collision of two forces, pure light of the astral star and the black mist of the void. They were neither beast nor god, but something in between. At first, they lived in the mountains, hidden from mankind. But greed awoke them. Athels sought their feathers, believing they granted immortality. That greed cost them everything. The Nyxgriffs rose against the Athels, not by claw, not by wing, but by mind. One by one, entire villages surrendered to whispers. Kings turned mad. Warriors dropped their swords without a fight. It was not fire or blood that drowned the first kingdom, it was fear which worked. For centuries, the Nyxgriffs grew stronger, feeding on fear. They did not eat flesh, they devoured courage. A man without courage is not a man at all. Imagine an army of thousands, all dropping to their knees before the battle even begins. That is the power of a Nyxgriff. It took the united effort of 7 archmages and Lord Muram himself to seal the Nyxgriffs into the deep caverns of Xylar. The war was not won with swords but with truth. Only when the archmages bared their deepest fears willingly did the Nyxgriffs lose their hold. Celine completed it with a sigh. But Jungkook wasn't satisfied. This seems like a fairy tale and his heart wants more of it. Taehyung noticed the sparkle in Jungkook's eyes. Pout automatically took place in his lips as he was jealous of this creature. Remember this history. A Nyxgriff cannot rule a man who admits his weakness. But it can destroy one who hides behind pride. Mostly elite social groups get targeted by them. They have the deepest fear yet they are hidden behind deep pride. She said and glanced over the whole classroom as students were all attentive. Enough for now. Write your observations. The true lesson comes not from me, but from the beast itself and obviously you. She said and smiled while everyone wrote down the lesson carefully. Taehyung, who wasn't in the mood to know about his love rival, also has to do the same as he wants to look cool in Jungkook's eyes. And somehow he also wanted to know more about this creature. The class ended and Namjin sighed beside Taehyung who was walking with a pout. Jia whom he loves this much is taking away his jewel's attention. How can she talk with Jungkook? She should push his jewel in his arms. He is determined to take revenge from her. Today will be full class. These 2 days were heaven here. Namjin said and Taehyung looked at him with widened eyes. What do you mean by that? There were more classes. How can I never know? Taehyung gasps. These 6 classes were enough for taking his life now with the full class nonsense. Didn't you check the schedule? Namjin asked while Taehyung shook his head and made a crying face. He checked the schedule and cried out loud, obviously dramatically. Namjin just patted his back and left from there. They reached the Astral and Dimensional Center. All the students widened their eyes and mouths. This class is different. The walls were carved with runes. The ceiling's slow pulse of stars lighting the room. All were busy admiring the beautiful scene. The floor, ceiling and the walls seem like a part of the sky. But their trance broke badly with the low-pitched authoritative voice. The professor smiled and signaled the students for taking their seats. Hello students. I am Liam Donovan. Call me whatever you want. Welcome to Astral and Dimensional Studies. This will be the first step of your journey beyond the known. We know many things but those are too little. Everything has more things to learn. More things to know. His low-pitched voice rings around the room. Everyone was sitting with concentration. Liam put his hand ahead. A shining orb appeared in his palm. It displayed countless layers within it, tiny swirling clouds, fragments of worlds, flashes of light that resembled entire skies. Layers after layers showing the 7 stages of sky. Everyone widens their mouths looking at the orbs just above in Liam's palm. There are 3 things you must remember about this subject. First, every star has a pulse. Second, dimensions are not places, but folds in existence. Third, your mind is both the key and the lock. You have to control your mind. Remember, if you can't control your mind then it's the end. Now look at the orb carefully. Note down the visual in the lecture. Liam stepped ahead and snapped his fingers. The orb shape changed and turned a bit big so everyone can draw it perfectly. Meanwhile the orb split into thin sheets of light like mirrors. It gives many visuals, giving glimpses of other realms. One reflected a burning desert beneath 2 suns, another a forest where trees floated upside down. Another one is an ocean with an upside-down mountain. Jungkook's eyes widened, absorbing every detail. Taehyung leaned back in his chair with arms crossed, trying not to look too impressed. Well, he wasn't actually. He already witnessed the most beautiful thing this universe ever can make. More than the orb, his jewel is more beautiful. More admirable. Note down in your mind, I will not ask you to memorize stars. I will ask you to feel them. It will not demand you to calculate folds in space, it will demand you to walk through them. For now, all I require is your attention, your patience, and your courage. Without them you won't be.